873-875-KTGR. The Big Show starts now.
You bet it does. Welcome into Wednesday's edition of The Big Show on your total sports station, KTGR. Andy Humphrey and Brendan Schaefer here. Something happened today for the first time ever. Allegedly, at least. First time ever. An SEC coach asked a question of another SEC coach on the football coaches teleconference held every week during football season. I'll give you one guess as to who the coach was.
Yeah, which one? I'm curious. Who would have thought to do something like that?
There is only one out there that could have been the answer to that question.
There can only be one.
There can only be one. And he's right here in Como. We'll talk a little bit about that. Kind of funny stuff as we head into Mizzou, Alabama, just 3 days away now. We're going to get the Alabama perspective today. Very excited about this. Matt Stahl of AL.com used to cover Mizzou for the Columbia Daily Tribune. Now he covers the Tide over in Tuscaloosa, and he's going to join us like he did before when he was a Tigers beat reporter. Be nice.
Yeah, and I want to get some Alabama perspective this week. It's the most potent opponent Missouri will have faced. Obviously, Mizzou, slight underdog, trying to keep all the streaks alive, and so getting the skinny on the Tide will be, I think, worth our time today.
Yeah, 425. Be tuned in for that as Matt Stahl joins us. We'll update our SEC football tiers at 5:05. Also, dive into the coaches' salaries that got released today, the highest paid college football head coaches. And, well, your favorite one, most likely, is within the top 10. So we'll discuss that at 5:25 as well. 875-5847 if you want to call or text us here.
I was just wondering if at any point we'll have the opportunity to discuss Bill Belichick, because I'm putting in a request just in case we weren't going to get to it.
Why not? There's time for sure to fit in Bill Belichick because, well, things are still not going very well. And it seems that North Carolina, surprise, surprise, wants out. We'll get to that. You can see us on Facebook and Twitter as well, and on our YouTube channel at KTGR Sports. We're live right now. Be sure to subscribe, wave hi to the fans, everybody. Again, we're also on Facebook at facebook.com/KTGR Big Show, on Twitter at KTGR Big Show.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
Yeah, and we'll see how the injury developments go for Mizzou when it comes to Caden Green's status. You'd have to expect that when the first SEC availability report comes out tonight at 7 p.m. that he'll be listed as questionable. Eli Drinkwitz seemed to indicate that yesterday during his press conference. And we'll see if that means later on this week that Caden Green will go. Now, Drinkwitz did say on Tiger Talk last night that it might be Thursday or Friday when they have more clarity as to whether or not he'll be good to go for Saturday's game against Alabama. Top 15 matchup in Columbia, of course. Tigers come in at 5-0 after the bye week. Kickoff at 11 a.m. on Saturday, beg your pardon. 8 a.m. is when the Yuengling Tiger Game Day show begins as you get settled for the Tigers and Tide at Faurot Field. And that is the Big Show's Big Deal on this 8th day of October, 2025. You can call or text us here at 875-KTGR. We have to start today with the audio that, ironically, Matt Stahl, our guest at 425, was able to capture in the SEC coaches teleconference this morning when Eli Drinkwitz decided to stay on the call, and he asked if he could ask a question of Kalen DeBoer, because Kalen DeBoer was scheduled to be next. Just so happened to be that way. And so Drinkwitz took the opportunity to ask a question of Kalen DeBoer. A little bit cut off here, but here was the exchange from Matt Stahl of AL.com.
On the sideline this game with us wearing black jerseys.
Coach Drink. I gotta fit in somehow. I'm more than likely. We'll see what the forecast is. I kind of know, but I'm expecting that. So it's kind of got its own life of its own right now. So we're rolling with it.
That's the only question I needed to find out for the day. All right. See you.
So the question was a little bit cut off, but Drinkwitz was asking if Kalen DeBoer was going to wear his famed black hoodie, apparently, that is taken on, as DeBoer said, a life of its own. Folks have said, like, he's never lost when he's worn this black hoodie. And so Drinkwitz wanted to find out if he was going to wear the black hoodie.
They called it the black hoodie of death. Is that a thing? Is that
Drinkwitz called it that? That's I think what Drinkwitz said it was.
I've seen it. I don't know. I've seen it referenced that way. Unless Drink was the first to do that, which would make it even funnier. What do you make of this? Like, as ridiculous as it is to sort of take, obviously it was a funny moment in the teleconference, but as ridiculous as it is to put our game hats on and say, do you like this? Do you not like this for Mizzou's chances to win the game? You might say, Brendan, that's a ridiculous question. It has no bearing. I say differently. I think it's a really good sign that Eli Drinkwitz is so in his bag this week that he just doesn't even care. Like you said, has that ever happened? A coach asking another coach on the SEC weekly teleconference?
At least according to Chuck Dunlap, who is the SEC football communications guy, and he does every single one of those.
So I'm just saying, does that not demonstrate, meaningful or unmeaningful, does it not demonstrate a level of comfort with where you're at in the week? Just you're having some fun with it. You're letting loose. You're being a little silly. You're being Drink, right? It's just Drink being Drink. I'm sure I'm reading too much in, but I like that it happened. I think it's fun. I just think it's like, it is okay, got to have the elephant in the room. It's this hoodie that the opposing coach can never lose in. Hey, you get make sure you wear that hoodie. Like we know what the expectations are with the hoodie. You better put it on. It's almost like the undercurrent is, because we're ready to, make that hoodie a little less menacing. It won't be a lucky hoodie after this weekend. It's kind of like saying it without saying it. I don't know. I'm geeking out about it. I like that he did it.
I mean, I like that he did it. That's Drink for you. He always gives the content. And once again, found a way to do it here. I don't know if it means anything for the game. I just like, he likes to have fun. He likes to have fun no matter what the situation is, I think.
He does, but haven't we seen during some weeks where he's a little more reserved? Sometimes he plays it up a little and sometimes he doesn't. And this would be a week where you're like, man, this feels like a real big game. And he's kind of going the other direction. Not to say it's not a big game, but he's clearly loose, right? He's clearly just kind of, it's not taking him out of his element in any way. The fact that they've got what you could argue is the biggest home game in Mizzou football since whatever, a decade ago. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I think so. It's good that he's dialed in, and this maybe indicates that because he feels so locked in on it, he feels the freedom to like open up a little bit and say, yeah, poke a little bit of fun.
Like, whatever.
I'm playing the game next and
playing the game.
Like
I like it. Yeah.
I will know when Mizzou is locked in when they take the field and they start running ball plays. Like, I just
ball plays. Okay,
that's what I'm looking for when it comes to like whether or not Mizzou's coaching staff has locked in this team to the point where they are raring to go to execute whatever plan they have against Alabama. So it's fun. It gave us something to talk about in the middle of the week before this big game. It's not going to make an impact on it. It might make an impact on how both teams respond. Like, will Drinkwitz reference back to it if they win and say like, "Oh, it's the first win ever against the Black Hoodie," or whatever. I don't know.
I'm not trying to put everything out there. I just think I just found it notable. That's all. I think
it
is notable in a way that suggests comfort with where things are. Like I said, we could sit here and make more of this game, and I tried to do that, I think, at the beginning of the week, or if it was last week, where I'm like, it's the biggest game ever, and you're like, well, they did play to go to basically a quarterfinal for the national championship in 2013 and win that game at home.
Oh, semifinal, really? That was back when it was still just one game before the playoff.
There's the quarterfinal, though. I'm saying the Texas A&M game.
Oh,
because
I'm
talking about on campus at home.
Yeah,
regular season game. That A&M game was like the quarterfinal. The Auburn game was like the semifinal, right. And they of course didn't win that one against Trey Mason and company. But yeah, I mean, this is on par to me with that type of game. It's not the same like implication because you could lose to Alabama this week and still make the playoff. That's a possible thing that could happen. But if you beat Alabama, doesn't that kind of feel like it's not to say you've proved it, but you're going to start to get some credit. The STP thing is going to be, we might have peaked with that. If once you beat Alabama, there will be people going, all right, I hear you, Missouri. I see you, Missouri. But until now, they don't see 26-5. They don't see, there's not been that from like the national perspective, that win that makes you go, whoa. It's just been a lot of consistently doing what you're supposed to do. But in the games that Mizzou has not been supposed to win, that wasn't really a sentence, they haven't really won those games yet. The games they're supposed to lose, they've kind of lost them. But the games they're supposed to win, they've won them all, like all of them. There hasn't been one letdown in 3 years. And now it's like, this is the ready-made opportunity to win a game that most people don't think you're going to be able to win.
Well, there have been letdowns as far as how you may have seen them play in games, like the A&M game and the Alabama game last year. They were letdowns.
Absolutely. But you weren't supposed to win them.
Sure, maybe you were. I can't remember if they were favored or not in College Station, but either way, they should not have been beaten by as much as they were beaten. And I think kind of similarly with the Alabama game. But I agree. Here's the way you put it: if you win this game, fewer people can poke holes in it. Like you could have poked holes in some of Mizzou's wins last year with how they went about it. Did they beat really any ranked teams at the time? At least I don't think they did. Did they dominate? Did they dominate many of those games, or did they have to? Yeah, like that.
No, you could form that argument.
And even 2 years earlier, like you go back to 2023, what would you say the best win there was? Probably the Tennessee game, right?
Which again, that was the one. That was the one that was dominant. And it was a close game at half, but there was like 36-7
they turned
against the team. Yeah. It was like a top 20 team at the time. So, but then what do people do? They say, well, Tennessee was down.
They were on the way.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, or at least they were on the way down, and you got them while they were packing it in.
But you would not be able to say that about Saturday.
No,
this Alabama team's already beaten Georgia. It's already happened. So you can't say, well, Alabama was down.
2 ranked teams in a row that they've beaten, with 2 top 20 teams that they have beaten in a row.
Yeah.
Like this is they're trying to capture some jewels here, and this is another one that's just in their way, and you have a chance to stop them with how it has happened so far.
What did you make of, I saw this comment on Twitter earlier this week, Kalen DeBoer was asked if Missouri is maybe a trap game for Alabama this week.
And he said, he thought
they're
ranked
ridiculous. They're 5-0 and they're ranked, so I don't know if we should look at it that way. I just think it's, there is definitely that attitude. How pervasive is it? I don't know. Probably outside of Columbia, Missouri. I do think it's a pretty sustaining narrative that's like, oh yeah, Missouri, that thing's cool, but it's kind of like the way that I viewed Indiana last year, where it was like, yeah, you're in the playoff, but you didn't really beat anybody. And then when you had the chance against Notre Dame to like show that you could back up your talk, you didn't really do it.
Yeah, no shit.
And so I can't take away from you what you were, but it also is like I never was really convinced. I feel like that's how a lot of people view Missouri. And maybe that was fair last year, Andy, because they had a really good year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those games that would have defined their season differently, they twice fell woefully short. They didn't show up. And they once played a very compelling competitive game in the other Columbia, and they lost it at the end to kind of define their season as, man, good year, but not quite. Something feels different about this year's team. And to show that it's different, to show that it's taken that next step off of what you've accomplished the last 2 seasons, 10-2, and then a Cotton Bowl over Ohio State, and then another 10-win season a year ago. This game feels like defining in that regard. It will not end your season in either direction. You can't win this game and then punch your ticket to the playoff. You have to go on the road 4 times and win some football games. But in the same way, losing it doesn't end your season in the negative, but it really would tell a story, I think, that would be meaningful about where this program has come from and where they are now.
So call or text us with what you think about it, as we're 3 days away from Mizzou, Alabama. Again, we're going to get Matt Stahl, the Alabama perspective, coming up in about 10 minutes here on the Big Show KTGR. But in that time, though, let's say we played this game a little bit ago with one of Mizzou's bigger contests. I think it might have been South Carolina. But what's your biggest concern, and then what's your biggest encouragement for what Mizzou has going for them heading into this game?
We got to rename this segment. I still get confused about the encouragement. Am I encouraging them or am I encouraged by them?
What encourages you the most about Missouri's chances in this game? What aspect of
my
the
biggest
matchup?
Point of confidence?
Yes.
I'm most confident in Missouri's run game, in that they will use it, that they will not abandon it when it looks like it's not working, that they will stick with it, and that they will eventually break through. I am confident that that will happen with not only Ahmad Hardy, who gets all the headlines, but Jamal Roberts as well, who is a one of the best running backs in this conference. Like, I legitimately feel that. And he's a great compliment to Ahmad Hardy. So I think that's really my biggest encouragement. My most confident.
You're most confident about the run game.
Is that Mizzou's going to have the run game and they're going to stick with it, and it's going to come through. It's going to be a mark in their favor on Saturday.
I think I'm there too. It is tough to know exactly how it will translate, but I think it will translate to the degree that Mizzou needs it to be. Maybe Ahmad Hardy doesn't pop off for 150, but if he's still averaging around 5 yards a carry, around that number to pace your offense with what you need, and then Jamal Roberts is doing the same thing essentially, well, then you've got an opening to find the other aspects of your playbook, use it to your advantage, and keep Alabama as off balance as you can make a unit like that. They don't get fooled easily.
And even when it's not there, is he falling forward for 3 yards, making that out of a hit in the backfield play?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he kind of has to be the best player on the field, I think, for Missouri to win, which I very much think he can do. He's the best player on most fields that he steps onto. But that feels, because again, when we ask about, what are we concerned about? It's not really a concern, but I think between the encouragement, confidence category and the concern category is like the wait and see, I'm curious category. We'll call it I'm curious. How does Bo Pribula respond when they're not on schedule as an offense?
Yeah.
How does Bo Pribula in the passing offense and like his legs to extend plays, whether he's taking off and running for a first down or he's throwing the football off schedule out of the pocket? My curiosity, if I can add a third category, is when it's not South Carolina and Kansas, against whom he was able to answer the bell. Now it's Alabama. Does it look the same? Does he lose a step against better competition where, that moment now is creeping up and, I got to be conservative. I can't make a mistake. So I'm not going to maybe. My curiosity that I don't have a great take on, like, I'm not predicting how that's going to look. I think he'll do okay. But does he elevate in that regard against this opponent? If so, another very good sign for Mizzou. But like, the Hardy part of it almost needs to be a given. The run game part of it, to put Pribula in fewer of those 3rd and 11s where it's like, really need to stay on schedule as an offense. Now we're off schedule. What do you do? What does Kirby Moore do? That's my curiosity is Bo Pribula.
Well, need the protection for him, right? And we'll see if Caden Green's available or not this week. And then it's helped out by the run game, though, how well Mizzou has done on 3rd downs. And so if they are in a bunch of 3rd and 8s even, or 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11, how do you find yourself out of it, or at least get yourself to a point where maybe you don't get it all, but you feel good about maybe going forward on 4th and 1, 4th and 2,
if you're across midfield,
like and a certain
across
spot
midfield on 3rd and 11, can you get me 7?
Yep.
Because that's enough. In a lot, they're going to 4th and less than 5 across midfield, unless it's a case where Mizzou's like up 9-3, and you're going, ooh, our defense has really been getting it done. Let's try to pin them deep. There's going to be moments where that's going to be the conservative angle, and it's going to be appropriate. But largely, I think you're not beating Bama with field goals, and you're probably not beating them by punting. But again, maybe the defense shows up in a way that surprises me, because my concern, it's not picking on anybody, but the secondary versus this passing offense is a concern that I think they can mitigate. I think they can manage it enough, but man, oh man, if they can't, that's how this game gets out of hand, is if it's open season for Ty Simpson to the 3 NFL caliber receivers that he could have streaking down the sideline.
Only if, in my estimation, if Jam Miller is getting his yards. My concerns about the defense, they're not completely washed away, but they are alleviated if Mizzou is stopping the run. to the degree that they have been, which is going to be tough to do. Like, you can't hold them to 10 rushing yards, or under 10, like they did against Kansas and South Carolina.
Is your concern Jam Miller and that Mizzou won't look as good against the run game defensively?
Well, I don't know if they've faced a running back as good as he is, so that could be a bit of a concern. But again, it's something where Mizzou has shown pretty much all season that running against them hasn't been very smart with your running backs, and so you still have a lot of strength there. But if that holds up, I don't have concerns mostly about the defense. Yeah, you might give up some big plays over the top, but I think that's going to happen in this game. For both sides, potentially. And so as long as you are forcing them into more of those that likely won't work out all of the time, I'll take it and see where that gets me.
Yeah. You're not wrong. Maybe my overconfidence is the problem, that I'm not listing Mizzou's run defense in. If anything, it's in the confidence category. It's the category of I'm just counting that as a given. I'm counting Missouri being able to run the ball as a given. And let's say it this way. I'm counting it as a given that Mizzou will run the ball well. And I'm confident in it. I'm counting it as a given that Mizzou will stop the run. I have no choice but to be confident in it, because if that part goes, there's no football game. You don't win this game if you are allowing them to turn, every first down is a 7 or 8 yard run, and then they're in second and short, second and intermediate, third and short, where they just have their whole playbook open to them, and they can afford to be a little frisky throwing the ball down the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I don't know that Mizzou is suddenly going to have this evolution where they're going to shut down the passing game. It's more about Alabama than it is Missouri. It's just nobody's really shutting down the Alabama passing game. It's very, very good. So I have to sort of sit in a mind frame if I'm going to believe that Mizzou will win this game, which I believe they can certainly do. That part, almost the part that's just not even been something that we've had to think about, it kind of has to stay that way. It doesn't mean 10 yards for but if it's 16 carries for 51 yards, you've done your job on that side for the most part, right? It has to look, his line has to look something like that, I think. Barring, one big play and maybe he breaks one and it doesn't end up costing you. I don't know. You can't make a habit out of that, though. That's the part of the defense that I'm like, nope, I'm not even spending emotional energy thinking about that, because it's been such a given that that's how you beat Alabama, is you hold to that and continue to be that team on the ground on both sides of the football. That's step one.
Call or text us. What are you most confident in and what are you most concerned about for Mizzou's matchup with Alabama on Saturday at 11 a.m. 875-KTGR if you want to call or text us. I know what I'm confident about. Despite the slight change this week, this is still going to be a very fun Tiger tailgate this upcoming Saturday. Again, folks, if you haven't heard yet, we are temporarily switching over our tailgate spot to the Mizzou softball stadium this week because of SEC Nation being in town. That's the only change, though. Everything else stays the same. You still get great food from Dive Bar and drinks from Bud Light, High Noon, Zing Zang, Lucky One Lemonade, and Midmo Water Solutions for free. Costs you nothing. None dollars and none cents. You still can go to some great pickup locations to pick up your free passes, like Buckeye in Columbia, Jeff City, Break Time in Columbia, and all three Columbia Hy-Vee locations. And the time stays the same, 2.5 hours before kickoff. So 8:30 in the morning. Come join us for our Tiger tailgate. Only change, it's at the Mizzou softball stadium, not in front of Mizzou Arena where we usually are. So go and check it out. All the details on our KTGR app and at KTGR.com. Get the updates for where we're going to be for our Tiger tailgates this weekend. All right, Matt Stahl's ready to join us next to talk some Bama and, well, about the exchange between Drinkwitz and DeBoer today. That's next. You're on The Big Show.
This the latest edition of The Big Show. Catch up on demand with a full show podcast on the KTGR app. Download it now wherever you get your apps.
From telling bedtime stories and doing late night homework to driving them to college and sliding them a few $100 when they get there, parents will do just about anything for their children. At Boone Hospital Wound Healing Center, people come from miles around knowing that their staff, doctors, nurses, and therapists will do anything to help heal their wounds. Wait, Don't amputate. Visit Boone.health to learn more.
Real healing starts here. Boone Hospital, Boone Healing Center.
There's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to football weekends, and that's what makes Yuengling such a great pick. From traditional lager to light lager, flight, golden pilsner, and black and tan, they brew a beer for everyone's taste. Whether you're manning the grill, setting up the tailgate, or just watching with friends, Yuengling's got a flavor that fits the moment. Brewed with nearly 200 years of tradition by the oldest brewery in America, Yuengling. Legends stand the test of time. DG Yuengling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania.
This is Nevada Schauke with True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, and I'm the Exterior Director of Sales. In the construction industry, the last few years, we've had a roller coaster ride. One thing that has stayed pretty consistent or common is that vendors have continued to raise prices on materials. We have called up to collaborate with some of our large vendors that we work with to offer some year-end promotions. If you're looking to replace your roof, upgrade your deck to composite, replace your old worn-out windows and doors, give us a call. We also offer several financing options to meet most budgets. Your project must be purchased by the end of the year. This is a unique opportunity to save some money on your next home renovation.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com.
This is Kim with Hearing Aid Consultants. For some, the thought of wearing a hearing device makes them feel old. In reality, improved hearing helps prevent accelerated aging. Untreated hearing loss not only can decrease your lifespan, but it can also lead to a faster decline in cognitive abilities and increase the likelihood of dementia. Come see us at Hearing Aid Consultants for your free hearing evaluation today. Hearing Aid Consultants in Allmake Repair Lab in Jefferson City. We are here for you today so you can hear tomorrow. HearingAidConsultants.com.
From elegant weddings to corporate lunches with flavor and flair, Courtyard by Marriott Columbia brings the party and the pros. It's the home of Main Event Catering, and with every event, you'll get an award-winning chef, full banquet staff, and drop-and-go options for any size crowd. And the event center holds up 300 guests with 8 flexible rooms. If you need help, there's a Marriott certified wedding coordinator on staff too. Book now by calling 573-443-8000.
Hit a deer, win a cow. Hit a deer, win a cow. Hit a deer, win a cow. FPP, Easy's 1, 2, 3. FPP, Easy's 1, 2, 3. FPP, Easy's 1, 2, 3. Award-winning auto collision repair. Don't wait, we're great. We work with all insurance companies. We work with all insurance companies. Yes, we work with your insurance company. New Bloomfield, Missouri. FPPBodyShop.com. 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 Fletcher, Performance and Paint.
Tired of calling Andy and Brendan? So are their wives. Then shoot them a text right now. 573-875-KTGR and become part of the Big Show.
Well, big matchup this weekend in Columbia. Mizzou and Alabama. We're 3 days away now, an 11 a.m. kickoff at Faurot Field, 18th consecutive sellout at Memorial Stadium. That's a program record. And for a game this big, we cover it from all angles here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. And so right now we bring in Matt Stahl of the formerly of the Columbia Daily Tribune and now with AL.com. He's covered both of these teams before. He's now with covering the Tide, used to cover the Tigers, and he joins us now. And if you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook or Twitter at the moment, you can see Matt. And from the looks of it, I assume that he just dropped a birdie in on 18 and he's enjoying a nice cold beverage at the moment. Is that accurate, Matt?
Well, it was the 9th hole, but I did drop a birdie in on the last here. So, yes,
come on.
Really close to accurate.
Come on. There we go, baby. That's a great midweek pick-me-up, I'm sure. So with this, let's start with this morning. Kalen DeBoer was the second question he was asked was from none other than Eli Drinkwitz. And he was asked about the hoodie, which as you probably know, Matt, you can maybe shed more light on it for folks who don't know. The hoodie has taken on a life of its own, as DeBoer mentioned today.
Yes, Kalen DeBoer's clothes have been scrutinized quite a bit down here. He wore a T-shirt when they lost to Vanderbilt last year, and people lost their minds over it. But yeah, somebody noticed earlier this season, like, man, they're really good when he wears the black hoodie, and like 1-3 when he doesn't. So yeah, he's been trying his best to make it not become a thing, but it is a thing. So yeah, you guys know this. I don't know if listeners do. We do the teleconference with every SEC coach and the media every week on Wednesdays, and everybody does a 10-minute slot there, and Drinks is right before DeBoer's. So yeah, he asked the end of his, he's like, can I stay on the line and ask Kalen about whether he's going to wear the hoodie of death, he called it. And then, yeah, he did. It's one of he didn't get the first question. He got the second question. It was like, hey, are you going to wear the black hoodie against us? And, everybody laughed. I think there's been some Alabama fans of my mentions who were, sort of, they're not a really fun having bunch all the time down here in Alabama, especially when they haven't won a national championship in 5 whole years. So there's some of that who are mad about it. But, I think it was a fun thing.
Yeah, I was going to ask you the psychology of Eli Drinkwitz doing that. Make more of it than it is with me, Matt. What do you take from it? That Drinks, he's bringing up the elephant in the room and kind of poking the bear a little bit.
Yeah, criminal mastermind Eli Drinkwitz getting on the SEC teleconference. It doesn't seem like there's any real animosity between the two of them. Obviously, Kalen was laughing, and there's some connections between the two of them. Kirby Moore has worked with a lot of the Alabama staff back at Fresno State. So yeah, I don't know that there's anything big to read into it, but I mean, clearly not something you see every day.
It's first time for everything, I suppose. Matt Stahl of AL.com with us here on the Big Show KTGR. So let's talk Bama. I mean, it's been night and day difference from game one to how they have progressively gotten better and better. What has stood out the most about how they have gotten to this point, Matt, to where now they've knocked off a couple of ranked teams and they're now going for a third in a row?
Yeah, I mean, it's been just a really impressive turnaround, especially given, sorry, I got an airplane flying over me right now, but especially given the just world of panic that surrounded this program weeks ago. I mean, you had boosters who, like the boosters here stayed, like people sort of forget, it used to be like Auburn, but more, right? With just boosters being insane here. And after that Florida State loss, you had boosters talking anonymously to reporters about how they had concerns about the future of the program. So like that's like DEFCON 1 level just panic here. But I mean, a lot of credit to Kalen DeBoer and the staff. Like they clearly figured out what wasn't working. Maybe lit a fire under a team that didn't seem like it was giving just all out effort all the time. And I think the addition of Ryan Grubb to the staff this season as the offensive coordinator has helped a lot. Like that offense, it looked like business as usual, like going back to last season against Florida State, right? Like it stagnated a lot after they got out of that first drive when the script kind of ran out. But I mean, against Georgia, that wasn't the case. Like they didn't score points in the second half, but like they certainly moved the ball enough to keep the lead. And same deal against Vanderbilt. Like Vanderbilt gave them their best shot, and that's a good Vanderbilt team. That's not what it used to be. And yeah, I mean, they just beat their butt late in the game. Like it's just I sort of marvel at the turnaround because it looked so bad against Florida State.
Yeah, it is kind of strange to think about, like, from the outside perspective, we were going, oh, is Kalen DeBoer, is this going to work out at Alabama? And that obviously are not conversations that are being had now. One of the big reasons for the turnaround is the play of Ty Simpson. What do you make of his evolution coming in as a guy who seemed like the right choice for QB1 in the summertime, but he's a lot more than that now, leading the Tide offensively with, of course, that very talented wide receiver core at his side.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're having conversations about why wasn't he starting games over Jalen Milroe last season at this point. And yeah, I mean, he especially looked lost against Florida State. I think some of that maybe an undercovered topic as we all panicked over that was the just monsoon rains that day in Tallahassee. Like it was raining the whole game. So maybe that had something to do with it. But yeah, I mean, he looked sharp. I mean, he had a bad throw against Vanderbilt on that first drive of the game, but that was his first interception of the season. And there were like 2 weeks where it seemed like he just decided he was going to stop throwing incompletions. He's been very accurate with the ball. He's been making the right decisions. He's been taking risks in the right places. Like that's been an underrated, I think, element of this. Is like you'll see him force a throw there, but it always seems very calculated. And like when he does force a throw, like it's in the right place, I think.
Matt Stahl of AL.com covers all things Tide over there with us here on the Big Show KTGR. The answer is probably both, but which wide receiver should opponents be most scared of, Ryan Williams or Jeremy Bernard?
Honestly, I think it's Jeremy at this point, and it was probably Jeremy at the end of last season too, and I think he sort of got like overlooked because of Ryan Williams mania. I don't know if you guys know this. He was only 17 last season.
Wow, really?
Really crazy.
Whoa.
Wait a minute. That makes him 18 this year?
Only 18 years old.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he can now buy a lottery ticket in every state except Alabama. But he's no, Jeremy's just really, really talented guy. It seems like he's always open is the big thing. He'll go up, he'll make a tough catch. He's not afraid of a hit. Sometimes I do marvel with these Alabama wide receivers. It's like they're all really lucky that like Brian Dawkins isn't playing anymore, because Jeremy especially will feast over the middle of the field. And that just wasn't an option 15 years ago, right? Like he'll make a lot of catches that are sort of given to him by the modern game. And that's no shade to him. He's a tough guy. But Alabama does a good job, like scheming throws that might not have been there back then. But yeah, he's a touchdown threat. He's got surest hands. Ryan Williams has sort of had the drops this season. Jeremy hasn't had any of that. So yeah, I think it's him.
And then I want to ask you about kind of on the other side of the ball, Matt. The angle for Missouri would be run the football. Ahmad Hardy, Jamal Roberts, as productive as those two have been. Watching the Vanderbilt game for Alabama, obviously they broke the big long run in the first half. Second half, it seemed like it was either Pavia or bust for that run game, and they kind of went away from it. Do you credit that toward Alabama making adjustments to make it not an option? And how do you think that Bama run defense will fare when they're facing Ahmad Hardy, knowing Missouri wants to establish it?
Yeah, I think some of it was adjustments. Also, that's what I'm most interested to see. Like, I think from Alabama, I really need to see them play a solid run defense game against Missouri. Like, Vanderbilt, for some reason, Vanderbilt got away from what they did well last year in the game against Alabama, right? Like, there's still a lot of questions, I think, about whether Alabama can cover a team, especially with multiple run threats, but like a really running team. And if I was Alabama, the Missouri matchup would scare me, I think, just because like they do have, even Bo Prabula can run. Like he's not like just standing in the pocket the whole game. And that's something they've really, really struggled with throughout the DeBoer kind of Kane Womack. I mean, even going back to some like late stage Nick Saban, right? Like they'd have trouble against those mobile quarterbacks. But yeah, I'm really intrigued to see how this works out, because I think they have improved against that element, and I think they did make some good adjustments against Vanderbilt, but I think this is going to be the best run team they've seen in a long time.
Matt Stahl of AL.com with us on the Big Show KTGR. He covers Alabama now, but he used to cover Mizzou for the Columbia Daily Tribune, and I'm curious, Matt, since you've had to watch from afar essentially over the years that Mizzou here, the last couple, coming off back-to-back 10-win seasons, how from your perspective, drawing off of what you knew about Mizzou when covering them for some years here in Columbia, what have you made of their arrival, if you will, through the SEC standings and trying to compete for the top here?
Yeah, how about that Brady Cook guy? Like when I left town, people were ready to like blow up his car. That guy turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
No, it's been a great job by Drink, I think. Like right when I left is like when they were bringing in Kirby Moore, and because you remember that 2022 season, that offense just like wasn't working well at all when Drink was calling the plays. I think you saw that. I think he did a good job recognizing like I cannot do everything. I'm gonna do more of the CEO thing. I'm gonna bring in a really good offensive play caller. And yeah, he's taken advantage. I think Missouri, I don't know if they still do, but for a while they certainly had some advantages as far as the state NIL rules. Like that was big. And Eli did a really great job taking advantage of everything that was kind of available to him. And yeah, I mean, it makes you wonder, like, what is like the ceiling for this Missouri program at this point? Because I mean, especially in an era where there's more parity, like you don't have super team Alabama, super team Georgia, super team anybody in college football anymore. It's like, this could be a team that could make a real playoff run here. But, you know, I think it's going to be big to see it against Alabama because, I mean, in the words of every Paul Feinbaum caller, like, they ain't played nobody.
Not yet, at least. They got their chance here this weekend. So if you had to pick right now, where are you leaning? What's your prediction, you think?
That's that's going to depend on how well Alabama defends the run. You know, like, I think probably lean Alabama in a close game here, but like nothing would surprise me, right? Like Ahmad Hardy could run for 400 yards and it wouldn't shock me, you know, or it could be a case where maybe Alabama really has figured out the run and they hold it down. That wouldn't surprise me either. So like, I hate to just like waffle back and forth, but like, I don't know, Alabama by 3, maybe.
If it makes you feel better, I have no idea either. Like, I'm just like, it's Wednesday and I'm not even sure. Yeah. Brendan he's known for years, but
I've kind of been locked into this. No, preseason, I will cop to it. I predicted 11-1. And when we went through the schedule, I said Alabama would be Missouri's loss. But now the game's here, Matt. And so I might have to, we'll see. We'll see where we're going on Friday.
The 12-0 prediction last year, just so you know.
And that's fun, right? Like, that's where we're at in the SEC is like, I've gone into a lot of games this year. Like the last 2 weeks, I'm like, I've got nothing for you prediction wise. Like, and it's just fun. Like there's no super team in the league this year. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it really is. And as you mentioned, NIL and the transfer portal, we were wondering when it was really going to even things out, but I think we're starting to see more of that now. So going to be very interesting. Again, Matt Stahl covers all things Tide over at AL.com. Used to cover Mizzou for the Columbia Daily Tribune. And thank you so much, Matt, for coming on and talking with us. This was awesome. Hope to see you this weekend. And we'll talk very soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It is 4:43 here on the Big Show KTGR. I mean, that guy's great. He used to cover horse racing, which is awesome too. Like he's been around the block a few times.
Yeah, and it's cool too where he's, I don't know what's going to happen. Like we always try to pin people down, our guests that cover the various teams with their score predictions, but there is that element of like, we don't know for sure the way this game's going to play out. There are some contrasting styles. There's a little bit of strength against perceived weakness. And then there's a little bit of strength against, I think, definitely been a weakness if you're talking about the Mizzou secondary against the Alabama pass offense. But the Mizzou run game against what has been, prior to the second half of last week against Vanderbilt, a weakness for Alabama defensively. I guess we're going to find out. Did Alabama figure something out that compelled Vanderbilt to believe they shouldn't run the ball with their running backs in the second half? And their run game consists of just Pavia running around and scrambling, basically, which didn't do a ton for them. Or was it a big mistake for Vanderbilt to go away from the run game, as I have said on this show all week, and Missouri is going to be able to take advantage of a unit that still has not demonstrated it can really stop an elite rushing attack? That's kind of the cat and mouse of this game, and it is fun when you have kind of coming into it what you expect. And then, of course, this league this year, things can be turned around, and you maybe get something different than what you anticipated. That's what makes it fun.
It'll be a very interesting game of cat and mouse. And as he kind of alluded to, the familiarity between coaches, like the crossover between not just the head coaches, but the coordinators too. Corey Batoon and Cam Womack both left South Alabama at the same time to be SEC coordinators. Talked about Kirby Moore's connection to Kalen DeBoer, like so much of it. And so that's also a big part of what could play into this game here. All right, Under the Bus is coming up next. The NFL, the No Fun League moniker that some people will pin on it, I think rings true with this situation. That's next.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon, I'm Billy Jones. This live local sports center is with Lee's Tire Company that's round and rubber. Lee's sells at Lee'sTireCompany.com. Missouri getting set for its matchup on Saturday against 8th-ranked Alabama. Kickoff set for 11 a.m. You can hear that game right here on KTGR, the Yuengling Tiger Game Day Show, beginning bright and early at 8 a.m., awaiting the first SEC student-athlete availability report tonight. That'll come out just a little bit after 7. Kalen Green expected to be listed as questionable. The All-SEC tackle has missed the last 2 games for the Tigers. Chiefs released their first injury report of the week. All players were full participants. Chiefs lost Monday against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're back in action Sunday against the Detroit Lions on Sunday Night Football. You can hear that on our sister station, 96.7 KCMQ. Just about 24 hours from puck drop in St. Louis as the Blues are getting ready to get their 2025-26 season underway. They'll start things off against their Central Division rivals, the Minnesota Wild. Last year, Blues went back to the playoffs as they finished with 96 points. Wild were 1 spot ahead of them at 97. Up next, your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast with I-70 Towing. I-70 Towing, their Mid-Missouri's go-to crew.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking a chilly night as we drop down into the low 40s under clear skies. Expect more sunshine again tomorrow with high temperatures in the lower 70s. Tomorrow night, a few more clouds. Temperatures drop down into the upper 40s to about 50. We'll have a chance for a few showers, especially west of Highway 63 on Friday. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
All the hard hits.
He's under pressure, and down he goes. Inside the 20-yard line.
All the jaw-dropping moments.
Makes a man miss. 30, 20, near sideline, 10, 5, touchdown.
KTGR is your home for the high school football game of the week.
Oh, my goodness. Join us this weekend as the Rockbridge Bruins host the Battle Spartans.
Coverage starts with high school kickoff Friday night at 6 on Mid-Missouri's Total Sports Station, KTGR.
We're moving faster and faster these days with limited time to make an impact on potential customers. Hi, this is Jimmy at Pro Designs. For nearly 2 decades, we've worked with companies to build strong brands. At Pro Designs, our team can create a vehicle wrap to drive market share, growth, and profits. Connect with your customers on the go, on the road, and on the job site.
Visit us on the web at PRODEZIGNS.com.
Come see them at their locations in Eldon or Columbia off Rangeline Street and I-70.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
Hey y'all, it's Molly from Billiards. Happy Halloween month. Did y'all know we cook all of our burgers on a flat top, just like Frankenstein's haircut? And for our friends in the spirit world, we like ghost pepper cheese. Woo! And we've got plenty of Missouri craft beers brewing in the witch's cauldron.
Boogie on down for burgers and beer. Billiards on Broadway. Yeah.
For all you mummies, let's wrap this up.
Seal out drafts, dust, and moisture with MD brand weather stripping from Menards. A well-sealed home is more comfortable and energy efficient. We have the largest selection of in-stock weather stripping with over 100 products available to take home and start lowering your energy bills today. Save big money on weather stripping right now at Menards. And check out our weekly flyer on menards.com for more great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just 1 cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here.
Based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025. Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 a monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
Welcome to Macadoodles. Macadoodles does game day like nobody else. Whether you're tailgating or hosting a watch party, Macadoodles has you covered. With more than 3,200 wine labels, 1,500 spirits, and 600 craft and imported beers, and delivery right to your tailgate or doorstep, the days of making a beer run are over. Macadoodles delivers, providing unmatched selection at unbeatable prices. Drive through today or come inside and experience our world-class customer service. Who does game day like nobody else? Macadoodles does.
Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Free-for-all RV Road Warriors, your best blast of Branson just turned into a bad day bummer. You ran out of gas, blew a tire, killed your battery, are sitting sideways in a ditch, and managed to lock yourselves out. Ouch. Hey, it could happen. And for the save, you call I-70 Towing. They're Mid-Missouri's go-to crew for roadside assistance, too. Fuel, tires, batteries, locks, winching, you name it. When your world seems to have been wrecked, call the team they hope you never have to meet. I-70towing.com. Now serving Boonville. Winching.
If it's Mizzou sports, it's happening here. Now, back to the big show on KTGR.
It's called the No Fun League, if you ask me. Dan Orlovsky was notorious for posting on social media several videos of breaking down mostly quarterbacks, because he's a former quarterback himself and analyzes the game now, and particularly from that position. And I think this does a pretty good job with it and makes me smarter every time that I see him break down what a certain quarterback is doing here and there, because it's a complicated job. But apparently he's not doing it anymore. His last one was September 30th. And when someone asked about, hey, where are the breakdown videos? He responded back and said, sorry, NFL said I can't do them anymore.
Because he doesn't own the rights to the footage?
I assume because of the copyright sort of thing.
Oh,
yeah.
My goodness. There's tons of people doing that on TikTok, on Twitter. Like that. There's Dan Orlovsky is far from the only. Kurt Warner's done it. I mean, that's weird to me. I get it, but it seems so stupid. It's so counterproductive to say no. Like, giving fans more insight on our game, someone who's played the position, knows what he's talking about. Like, don't want to highlight that. Don't want to put more eyeballs on more understanding of our game. I think that's lame.
And again, he's not a nobody. Like he's
right
in a prominent position doing this. And so I would think the NFL.
And he works for a network, right? I mean, he works for the ESPN. Like, what are we doing? Like, that's a big time NFL partner that should all be very promotional in the way that is perceived. But nothing surprised me about the NFL.
Maybe he gets to do it again at some point, but for now,
Under the bus.
Yeah, NFL has got to explain that a little bit better. And under the bus to Derek Jeter, who was in the studio for Fox for their baseball coverage last night, which was a little bit elongated because there was a rain delay last night in the Tigers and Mariners game. They didn't start for a couple hours. And so they send it to the studio and say, oh, we got to keep it. We got to talk about something, keep the guys in there. And during the on-air time, Derek Jeter had an alarm go off on his phone. I guess he was missing a parent-teacher conference for his kid. Man. And so he's, oh, shoot, rain delay, and now I can't make the parent-teacher conference, unfortunately. And so, dang, Derek Jeter couldn't be there.
How many people are on that desk, though? They wouldn't have missed him. They could get by without
I
one.
agree. Like,
isn't it like a long desk? There's like
it
4
is.
or 5 people sitting there.
I mean, Poppy's
That's
right there,
lame.
Big Poppy, and I think A-Rod's there. I don't know who
They've
else.
got a bunch of guys on that panel,
or just
from
like,
what I recall.
Call in a pinch hitter, quite literally, like for this. Like, let's give the guy a break. Let him get to school and help out his kid. I don't know. That seemed off.
Under the bus.
But
yeah.
Good on Derek. Or maybe was that the cover? Like Derek Jeter was missing something else, and
I don't know. I'm not going to go nefarious. I'm not going to say he lied about it.
All right. Well, this was pretty cool from that Tigers-Mariners game, which the Mariners did win, and they're trying to close out the series as we speak against Detroit. There in Detroit, but there was one fan out in the outfield who was rooting for the Mariners and had a big green shirt on that said, "Dump 61 here." Like home run number 61 for big dumper Cal Raleigh.
It's not how it counts, but sure. Yes.
Yeah, I know. It's anyway.
Playoff home runs is a different thing, but no, it's still fun.
It's he was still counting up in that way, and sure enough, it took a hop in the bullpen, but it bounced right to him.
Wow!
And he was not only did he catch the ball, but he was ready for that moment. Maybe for whether he was catching the ball or not, he was ready for Raleigh to hit a home run. So he took off the shirt. He had another one underneath it. Dump 62 here.
Legend.
Oh,
Legend.
Man.
Because, like, you think about, what would the best case scenario for this be? He actually hits a home run to me. Well, how big of a tool am I going to look like if I'm not ready to change a shirt for the next at bat?
Right.
That's golden. I guess he met up with him and was able to meet Cal Raleigh. Is that the way this story
that was
ends?
awesome. Yeah, I think so.
That's exactly how that should. And by the way, like, props to teams who are out there looking for these types of things, because there's almost no better way to promote your brand as a baseball team than have something silly, fun, wholesome like that happen out in the crowd and go, come, let's get you a picture. Let's get you a signed bat. Like, that's doing it right.
That was well done by the Mariners and well done by that fan. So we'll see. The Mariners close it out there. 5:05 SEC football tiers. We'll update them coming up next here on The Big Show. Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for ProfitShares.com. This is a great game to play if you like to make picks on football games or how players are going to do in those games, and you don't want to spend any money to do it. And now's a great time to hop in if you haven't already, because the weekly Margin Madness contests are about to begin. The full slate of college and pro football available to you to be picked. And so if you enter into those contests, you can predict the outcome of each game, compete against others that are doing the same thing. And then the more and more you climb up the leaderboard for that week, the more profit dollars that you earn. It's not actual money. They call it profit dollars. You can use those, though, to redeem them for gift cards or make charitable donations to some excellent causes. So even though it is totally free, you can still win. So go to ProfitShares.com. That's PROPHET shares.com. Sign up if you haven't already. Invite your friends. You can compete against them and be ready for this week's weekly contests.
Time is running out for the best full and part-time jobs in Columbia. Miller's Professional Imaging, the largest photography lab organization in the United States, is hiring. If you are energetic and enthusiastic, Miller's Professional Imaging wants you. Miller's offers competitive salaries up to $23 per hour with monthly profit sharing and no experience necessary. Don't wait. Time is running out for the best job in Columbia. To apply, please fill out an application under the employment link at millerslab.com.
Columbia just got armed. Minutemen Defense is your new destination for guns, ammo, and tactical gear that means business. From holsters and body armor to night vision and magazines, if you need it, they've got it. Plus, the cheapest ammo in town, guaranteed. Located right off I-70 and Rangeline for fast, easy access, locally owned, veteran approved, built for serious shooters. Minutemen Defense. Get there. Visit MinutemenDefenseLLC.com.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station. KTGR
is Sports Center.
To your speakers.
This is the big show, baby.
Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is The Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
Well, if that's not the best National Sports Center update they've ever done, then I don't know what is. Way better than Andy doing an update, you know? Anyway, we're back here on The Big Show. 5 o'clock hour coming at you, and we will renew our SEC football tiers with some legitimate updates to make, right? I've been really pumping the tires of Vandy. That didn't go so well. Texas, do we need to move Texas down? We're going to do that in just a few minutes. We'll talk about this that came out, a report on the top college coaching salaries and where Eli Drinkwitz ranks on that list. Kind of interesting for 525, feeding into the idea, by the way, that Drink's got everything he needs at Mizzou, Arkansas, Florida. Good luck to you, but it's not happening. We'll get to that story and more coming up on The Big Show. 573-875-5847 to give us a call or a text. But first, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
We would expect that Caden Green will be listed as questionable for the first SEC availability report released tonight at around 7 p.m. That's what Eli Drinkwitz seemed to indicate in his press conference Tuesday. He also said on Tiger Talk last night that probably Thursday or Friday is when they'll have more clarity on his actual status for the game. So we'll see if we learn that at any point during that time. Maybe not until early Saturday morning. We shall see. Again, as Drinkwitz said, stay close to the availability reports and Pete Thamel's Twitter feed. Of course, Mizzou and Bama kicking off at 11 a.m. Saturday. Yingling Tiger Game Day Show begins at 8 a.m.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
How about a full practice for everybody for the Kansas City Chiefs today? Everybody on the active roster put in a full practice. So that's good news for guys like Christian Fulton and Omar Norman-Lott, who missed the last game for the Chiefs on Monday night against Jacksonville. Also good news for Xavier Worthy, despite the ankle injury, that he was a full participant in practice. Going to need about everybody they can get on that defense for the Chiefs as they welcome in one of the best offenses, if not the best offense in the NFL, the Lions, for Sunday Night Football this weekend.
Number 3.
Some interesting NCAA changes, I should say. Yesterday, it's official now. There will be a 15-day transfer portal window for football, January 2nd through the 16th, and it's just that window. No spring window anymore. It's not happening in December. They're pushing it back to January 2nd to the 16th. Today, not quite official. D2 and D3 still need to sign off on it, but that's expected to be the case. Athletes now will no longer be permitted or prohibited, I should say. They are no longer banned from betting on professional sports. Obviously, they can't bet on college sports, but they're going to loosen up the restrictions on betting for professional sports. Very interesting. We'll get into that at 5:45.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it. Pretty much the full tip time schedule for both Mizzou men's and women's basketball is out now. SEC revealed their times. Mizzou's men's SEC opener against the defending national champion Florida, Saturday, January 3rd, and it's a night tip, 7:30. Be ready for that one.
Number 5.
What is the 5 fingers? Say to the face. Slap.
Oh, it's our last day when we get 4 postseason baseball games, so that's a lot of fun. Looks like the Tigers actually are going to make it a Game 5 in the ALDS against the Mariners.
That's The Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
Call or text us here at 875-KTGR. I believe that, that just went final. Game 5 in Seattle between the Mariners and Tigers. Friday. Should be fun.
Friday, okay.
Yeah.
And I've got a background monitor on Cubs Brewers. I cannot tell a lie. And I kind of hope the Cubs at least extend that series. Like, okay, I get it. Yeah. You know, you don't want the Cubs to win the World Series if you're a Cardinal fan. Totally with you. But like, I could use some more baseball. Give me as much as you can here in October, because we know it's going to get cold out and baseball is going to be gone. We're going to miss it when it's gone. So while it's here, the more games, the better is still kind of the way I view it as like a neutral observer.
Yeah, especially for days like today, and when the series at least could be extended to the point where you get the full slate and we'll see what happens with those NLDS series. That could be sweeps, could not be sweeps. But either way, if one of them is not a sweep, then we'll have one of them for you tomorrow on KTGR.
And I love day playoff baseball.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That's the best thing about the NLDS round, because you get, I don't know, you're going to have games all day. You're going to have to fit them into a window. And so you play them during the day. And it feels right, too, to be playing day baseball at Wrigley in October. So Cubs up right now. We'll see if they can win that game. It's still very, very early, and we know in that ballpark anything can happen.
Do you think Aaron Judge has exercised the demons? Because I don't think so.
That was crazy though last night.
It was
that
crazy.
that was like very emphatic. If you were a believer in the demons, if you were a believer in the true like postseason curse, or the fact that he hadn't been able to perform, and you're going to hit one off like the higher part of the foul pole in a 3-run home run to change the complexion of that game. I don't know. I bet if he hits another one in the next game, we'll be talking about he's exercised the demons, because that felt like one of the exorcism type of vibes, with the way that was just so darn emphatic for him to hit one like that.
Well, and the type of pitch that it was too. Like that's the type of pitch that people only foul off those pitches, and or they break their bat into a bunch of different pieces. It's just not a pitch that you can turn around and send over a foul pole. And so that was pretty darn impressive. And the Yankees, by gosh, they needed it at that point. We'll see if
I'm not rooting for the Yankees, but I was loving that moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's what playoff baseball does to you. Like I don't know what to do with my hands sometimes with this.
I had 2 screens on. We were watching a show, and then my shows always have to go on the top screen on mute when it's like a sports game, and then my wife and I, she wants to be able to see the better, because it's kind of a weird setup in my basement, but I had them stack them basically on top of each other.
Right.
It's like the only reason you do the 2 TVs is for sports, but it does work out because it's like we can watch something that she's invested in, but I can mute and have the top TV on whatever
on the
sports
game
is on that night, because there's not a night that goes by. I think we're in the day 1 of 49 days of football in a row.
That's right.
Did I see that today?
Yeah, Bradley Murphy said that. Yeah.
So you got plenty of football coming your way, and then I guess there'll be a day where there's not football, but there'll be another long streak after that. Like, it's a good time of year for sports. But I had the Yankee game was on mute. I think we were watching some doctor show or something. But I saw without hearing any of the audio, and I audibly was like, oh my goodness, Aaron Judge did it. And so like that was definitely, yes, I think he's exercised the demons. I bet he will be a stud for as long as the Yankees are still in the playoffs. I think it was real.
You weren't watching Dance with the Stars? Wow. Okay. All right.
Andy, we've been over this. Is that actually currently in season, or?
Oh yeah, it was last night. It was last night. That was on.
How did it go? Who's the biggest star this year on Dancing with the Stars?
Oh, it's if you ask me, it is.
Well, I did.
I'm forgetting his first name, but it's the
he's
younger.
A big star.
No, it's the Crocodile Hunter's son, the Crocodile Hunter Jr. The Irwin, not Steve Irwin. That was the Crocodile Hunter. Rest in peace.
Okay,
but
his son.
Yes, his son, who's kind of taking on the same sort of
stuff.
thing. Yeah, and being a personality more so in the social media space nowadays with all of that. But yeah, the Junior Crocodile Hunter. He's great. Love him.
But he's the biggest star they got this year?
No, like I'm saying he's the one who's doing the best. I'm not talking about biggest name.
I don't care about who's doing well on the show. I'm not watching it. I just want to know.
I don't know who the biggest star is. I only care about how they dance.
This is
I'm
like
all
our 2
about
minutes.
the competition.
This is our 2 minutes of the month. Well, maybe not now, but there will be more minutes to come now that I know
you know
it's
what?
on.
Hey, the Rich Eisen show, which has been great, by the way. Love having the Rich Eisen show on KTGR now, 11 to 2 here every weekday. They had Alfonso Ribeiro on last week to talk Dancing with the Stars. So, like, they've talked a lot more about it than I ever could on this show.
No, it's just funny because I was trying to play into it like only a little bit. Like, yeah, who's a big star? To be like, oh, yeah, I've heard of that person. And you're going, well, in my opinion, the Crocodile Hunter's son, he's actually a really good dancer.
Yes.
I couldn't care less about the dancing part of it. I just wanted you to impress me with some names. Now I'm Googling it.
Yeah.
So
you want the
Topanga's on
names?
there?
So you want
Topanga from Boy Meets World?
Oh
is
yeah,
on there?
She's on there.
She's still in it.
Yeah, she's still in
That's
it.
the answer.
Well,
I mean, you
yeah,
could have led with
that's
that.
No, I get that.
Goodness,
I know. The names are big. It's kind of different strokes for different folks, though. They try to branch out into a lot of different areas. For the sports people, Baron Davis was on. He was actually the first boot.
Oh no,
yeah,
two left feet.
And Jordan Childs.
Yeah, that's another one that you would have beaten.
Olympic gold medalist.
Crocodile Hunter's son on the list. If you had gone that route, I would have said, okay, I know who that is.
And Jordan Childs has been dancing very well too. So it's like,
that makes sense.
Everybody's all in it. Yeah, we'll see. I got my 2 minutes in. That's all I care about.
Danielle Fischel would have been the answer to, I think, the biggest star on this list. That was the first name that I noticed.
Especially with our age group. That's a very popular one.
Oh, there's a singer from Pentatonics. I know that.
Yes.
That kind of acapella group. They're really good.
Scott Hoying.
Good Christmas stuff from them. So, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I would say about half these names, at least, I probably not heard of them, but,
I mean, it's leaned a lot into the social influencer realm, which I'm not as in tune with. But once they hit the show, then I do know about them. That's the beauty. 875 KTGR. If you want to call or text
he
us.
only cares about how they dance, though. It's like, I don't really know who they are, but man, can they move.
Call me crazy. I like the competition.
It's the funniest, like, I guess it's become sort of a big show trope, though, that every once in a while we'll bring up, Dancing with the Stars. You'll bring it up. I'll ask you about it. And it's so funny because you're not putting on, like, you genuinely love this show. You're invested in it.
But
like,
I would talk about it a lot more when it was on Monday nights, and we were talking like, "Oh, you're skipping the Monday Night Football game to watch Dancing." No, dual screens here, and then once
we've had iterations of this, but then they start putting Monday Night Football on ABC, right? And they're doing these double headers, which I'm not a huge fan of. Very complicated for the fantasy football fan, but it's very funny how that ties in. Over and over again, and I kind of forgot about it for a while. I guess it's still on the air. They put it on the app, and now it's where they air this thing now.
Well,
ESPN2?
No, they're on ABC on.
They changed the day.
On Tuesdays, but they're also streaming and stuff. Look, they've been very popular. Apparently, they've broken voting records this year. So
I believe it. Look,
it's growing.
For everything that I make fun of with that, I religiously watch Big Brother during the summertime.
Oh,
so everybody's got their thing. All right, it's all good.
Yeah, well, we have that. We have Survivor. We have Amazing Race.
And nobody cares about this, but there was actually a contestant on Big Brother this summer who, I kid you not, his role, like they would tell you the occupation or the different people, they would say he is a South Carolina women's basketball podcaster. That was his, and I was like, oh, he probably talks about football too. No, he's talking about Dawn Staley's South Carolina, and he was a super entertaining guy, kind of older gentleman, but I just thought that was so funny. I'm like, during women's basketball season, I have to reach out to see if we can get the guy that was on Big Brother. We can talk Mizzou women's hoops against South Carolina, but that's not why I want to.
Big rivalry, I'll say that. That's for sure.
No, it is. It's like and I'm like not fond of Dawn Staley, really. Like, there's been a little bit of friction there between her and Mizzou and different programs. So anyway, that was my cue of like, oh, all I have to do is be like, I'm a Mizzou podcaster, but it's not niche enough. I'm like, I need to be like, I'm a Mizzou disc golf podcaster, and then they'll probably put me on the show. But that I found out, like, I'm closing in on a way to get into that. So we'll get there.
Hey, we'll try and work the magic to see if we can line our schedules up. 875 KTGR here on the Big Show. We stalled for about,
I don't know. It was just minutes. There was a lot of topics we had to get to. I do apologize.
Pressing stuff. SEC tiers, though, waits for nobody. We get to the update here for our SEC football tiers, and there is some changing that needs to happen.
Got to be.
At the top, though, what do we do? That could be very interesting. At the top, you still had Bama. Well, we both had Bama, and you had Georgia. I had Ole Miss.
Georgia beat Kentucky this weekend, so they don't move for me from the top tier. And I don't think anybody rose up. A few teams had buys this past week. Mizzou obviously had a bye. No, I'm keeping the top the same. You had Ole Miss and Bama.
Yeah.
Ole Miss didn't play, so I'm not going to move them up. I didn't have them up there last week. I don't have them up there this week. What do you make of the top?
It pains me to do this.
Okay.
A&M is going to join the top tier.
Oh, they're bumping up 2 tiers for you. Yeah, man, I did have them on upset alert, and they did not. It wasn't. They dominated Mississippi State last week. They did.
It was very well done from Mike Elko's group. We might be wrong about this Aggies team. Maybe they do hold up all season long.
I don't think they won't. I just am like, I don't know. Somewhere I've got to assume that Mizzou, I have to assume that Mizzou can win that game, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe they're just that good. What do you think? Season's end. Where's A&M? Are they a top 10 team? Are they on that level? They got a tough schedule too. Everybody does.
They do. But it got a lot more manageable here, I think. Florida's not as daunting of a game. They host Florida.
That's this weekend.
Weekend at Arkansas, but Arkansas fired their coach. Maybe that means that they're better. I don't know, but
but that's still a game you got to win. If
you can win that. The tough stretch here is at LSU, at Mizzou, back to back. I don't know if there's a bye week in there or not. Maybe there is, but that's their toughest stretch remaining. And then they host then they host South Carolina, and then they host Samford, not Stanford, Samford, and then at Texas, which that'll be tough. The late game, everything rivalry, and anything can happen, right? I think we know what Texas is though. So. Only 2 ranked opponents left on the schedule right now for A&M.
Yeah, and they're in the playoff. It kind of snuck up on me, but they're in the playoff because they could lose both those games, and I don't think they'll lose to LSU. I don't think LSU's particularly good, not as impressive in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, yep, I'm going to actually do the same thing. I had them in tier 2 last week, so I am even more justified. But yeah, I was disappointed. I was pulling for Mississippi State in that game to at least cover the spread, and they just couldn't get anything going. A&M's defense was very, very stout, and they kind of suffocated them in that second half. So you'll move A&M up. I'll move A&M up. But I'm not – I still have a different top tier than you. I've got Georgia. You've got Ole Miss. And I think that just stays this week. Because Georgia – do you want to move Georgia up? Can I convince you there?
No, okay. I think – more flaws, not much more, but a few more flaws to worry about, I think, on the Georgia side, especially defensively. So they
covered 35-14, barely covered.
Yeah, Kentucky. Against Kentucky. Vegas knew what was going to happen there. And so, you took care of business, did what you needed to do, comfortable win. But no, I'll keep them where they are, and I'll keep LSU where they are too. LSU didn't play, right? They didn't have a game. Okay, yeah,
they were on a bye.
I don't think any reason.
So you got LSU, Georgia as your second tier. Does anybody move up to join them out of the ranks of Oklahoma, Missouri, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, Texas? I have to imagine the answer to that is no, given that Vanderbilt, Texas lost. Mizzou didn't play.
Yeah, Texas is not in the tier anymore. I will say that.
They're going to drop.
But OU, Mizzou, Tennessee, Vandy, that would be my third tier.
Okay, just updating the records. OU, Mizzou, Tennessee, and you're leaving Vandy despite the loss to Alabama.
I am. It's still a team that can upset some folks, and at least for now, they didn't drop enough to say they should be disqualified now after this dream run is over. No, I don't think necessarily that's the case for them. They still have the requisite schedule that you can climb back into, and if you're winning games against that stretch, you got 6 games left, 3 of them against ranked teams, I think you'll find the wins you need to be in the playoff if you get to a certain record. That's what this tier is. Maybe it's either teams that have taken a loss already, but they're not out of it. And then in the case of OU and Mizzou, for that matter, done what they needed to do in their non-con, but have not nearly been tested enough in their conference games to the point where you're wanting to move them up.
Yeah, and this is interesting. Like, I'm fighting it on Ole Miss and a willingness to move them up. I did not have LSU in the second tier last week, so they don't end up there this week. They'll still be in tier 3 for me. But I'm fighting it because Ole Miss to me and Tennessee, I still think Tennessee is tier 2 caliber, but I might have to, despite teams being on a bye. Really what it is like I didn't know how to handle Vanderbilt until I kind of could see them in a game like the one against Alabama. And they didn't play terribly, but I was disappointed in Vanderbilt in the way that because I thought that would be a closer game. And I honestly thought they could have won the game. And I was ready to vault them up into the top tier. What I will do instead, Vanderbilt's going to stay in tier 3, but it's a little bit of a diluted tier 3. I'm going to move Mizzou and Oklahoma actually up to tier 2 after a bye, but it sets up very nicely this weekend because I've got Mizzou obviously going against the top tier team. Oklahoma is in tier 3, whereas last week Texas was in tier 3, and Texas probably kind of stays in tier 3 because I don't think as much of tier 3 I think is your tier 3. Vanderbilt, LSU, Texas is kind of looking like my third tier after moving Oklahoma and Missouri up. Oklahoma and Missouri go up. Vanderbilt and LSU remain, and Texas drops from tier 2 down to tier 3. So I did have Texas in 2 last week. They do fall. Vandy's stagnant. LSU's stagnant. But I'm looking at Mizzou and Oklahoma are sitting there going, you guys are kind of stinky. The rest of you in tier 3 are kind of stinky compared to where we thought you were last week. We don't really want to sit at your table right now. So there, Mizzou and OU will actually climb a rung for me despite not having played, because I think tier 3 represents something different at this point for me. It represents like, you kind of had a chance in one of those games and you didn't impress me enough. LSU losing to Ole Miss. LSU's offense just not really being as good as I thought it would be. And Texas still has a lot of talent for sure, but I'm not going to be punitive and drop them further than tier 3 here.
Okay, call or text us with your thoughts on the SEC football tiers, 875-KTGR here on The Big Show. Okay, so after tier 3, you still have Texas in there.
I think I do. Let's talk about some of these other teams. Like there's Auburn, there's Florida that I had on an island between the real basement tier of Kentucky, Arkansas, and then I had Auburn, South Carolina, Mississippi State all kind of bunched together in tier 4. And working through those teams right now, I feel best from that group about Auburn and Florida, honestly. Like if I'm keeping Texas in 3, I want to give Florida a little bit of credit for the climb. I think Auburn and Florida, like Mizzou doesn't play Florida, but if we had to go to the Swamp, I would feel similarly about that game as I do to going to Auburn, where it's like, I don't think they're a great team, but I think they're a pretty good football team. Maybe not by SEC standards. I'm not excited to go there. They can beat Mizzou. I think Florida and Auburn for me are kind of similar in how I'm viewing them right now. And maybe South Carolina belongs there too. Whereas it's like Mississippi State, okay, I'm gonna make you pay a little bit and drop you down to where I had Florida last week. Talking through this, let me know where are you at with some of your lower tiers, and we can see if we can piece this together.
So I might be eliminating a tier, actually.
Okay.
I might
consolidating
be doing that. Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. I want to check and see what. Okay, Arkansas was off. Here's the thing about this next tier. These teams all are in a similar spot, but with one win, start to think a little bit differently about them with their next game, because they're hosting like a top 11-ish team, like Texas, not hosting, but Texas. If they beat Oklahoma, we think differently about them, right?
Sure.
If Auburn beats Georgia, we think differently about them, don't they? This weekend. Yep. What was the other one that I was looking at? South Carolina. If they beat LSU on the road, we think a little bit differently about them today, or next week, essentially, if that happens. And to the case of Mississippi State, who's on bye, like they don't really face anybody of real note to this point. Like they're going to have a bit of a perceived softer part of their schedule at Florida, hosting Texas, at Arkansas. So like, but I think they're kind of good enough to be in this tier still based on how they look, or maybe no, I don't know. I don't want to do
the same thing I did last week to Florida. They're bumped into a tier of their own.
So you're putting Mississippi State in a tier by itself.
Yeah, that's going to be number 5. Kentucky, Arkansas, bringing up the rear in tier number 6.
Okay,
I think Mississippi State's lost to A&M, who it's kind of hard to talk out of both sides of your mouth. Where I'm moving A&M up to the top tier, but I think I was behind on them anyway a little bit. But I'm also saying, hey, a team that is now in the top tier, Mississippi State, you went to their place and lost by 22 or whatever it was, and I'm punishing you for it. But really, it's more about, I view, just like you said, with Auburn, with Florida, with South Carolina, those teams have big games coming up, and I think Mississippi State's shot at that was Tennessee, and they didn't quite pull it off.
Yeah.
And if Auburn, Florida, South Carolina don't pull it off, they're more similar to Mississippi State than different. But until they lose that game that I'm looking at coming up for them, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, you're in the waiting room right now. And Auburn, Florida, South Carolina, any of you have a chance to go up this week. But if you don't, I think I end up consolidating tiers and move them down to join Mississippi State.
So here's what I'll do. I actually break Mississippi State out of that 4th tier. I'll put Mississippi State and Arkansas in the same tier. And then Kentucky's at the bottom. I still need to put Florida somewhere though, right? That's what
you do. Not have a place for Florida, who's got their resume is kind of wonky. What if Texas really just stinks? And then their resume is we beat Texas. Yeah, but they're not very good. That's where it's hard to place Florida because I need more data points for them.
I'll put Florida. I'll say the 4th tier here. Put them in Mississippi State spot where I wanted to put them. I'll say that So I'll say that Florida's in the 4th tier with Texas, Auburn, South Carolina, and that's the 4th tier.
Okay, and so for some reason I'm sitting here with Texas still. Texas is favored, by the way, they were, but now it's Oklahoma. It's going back and forth for that Red River. I don't know if that's John Mateer's status. It's Wednesday, so we're going to get an availability report. It's probably going to list John Mateer as questionable, and that's going to get everybody fired up. But somebody somewhere already knows that information, and that's why that's maybe why the line is flipped toward Oklahoma. And questionable, I think, would be a good thing for Mateer to be, because he could be doubtful, or they could just say, nope, he's not ready yet. But I don't think we'll see that tonight. So you're going Alabama, A&M, Ole Miss in the 1st tier. You're going Georgia, LSU in tier 2. Oklahoma, Missouri, Tennessee, Vanderbilt in tier 3. Texas, Auburn, South Carolina, Florida in the 4th tier. Mississippi State joins Arkansas, and then Kentucky is in the basement.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know if I can separate Kentucky and Arkansas right now, but I'm anticipating having to do it when Arkansas does something better under Petrino than what they were doing under Pittman. So that's a difference that you and I have. And I will keep Texas in tier 3 where I have LSU. So you have LSU in tier 2. Not a believer. Vanderbilt, LSU, Texas is my 3rd tier, whereas you've got it a little bit different than that. And I'm going to bump Missouri and Oklahoma up this week, where it's maybe I should have had them there all along. I am anticipating certainly, either team loses, they're back down into tier 3, where it's all right, you're on the stage. This is your stage this weekend. Win this game and you get to stay or even elevate. But if you lose it, for both teams, it's a game within 3 points projected on the spread. I think both teams need the win this weekend. Missouri and Oklahoma need the win to solidify themselves as top 8 to 10 teams in the country, could win a national championship, could do the whole darn thing. I need to see from both of them, and I don't care that Oklahoma's playing without John Mateer if they are. I think Texas is flawed enough that Oklahoma should expect to still win that game.
Call or text us. What would you do with the SEC football tiers? How would you place them together? 875-5847 here on The Big Show. We'll keep talking about that and about Eli Drinkwitz having, as we all expected, a pretty lucrative salary compared to the rest of the country. That's next.
Breaking down the Tigers, Cardinals, Chiefs, and more like no one else. The Big Show continues next on KTGR.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Lee's Tire Company. They are round for you, and if it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. They want to also remind you that it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and all this month they are bringing back their Brakes for Breasts campaign. What this means is that you can get a qualifying brake job at Lee's Tire Company all throughout this month, and you can either get $40 back or you can donate that $40 to breast cancer research. And on top of that, Lee's Tire Company will match that $40 donation. Just another way that Lee's Tire Company not only knows how to get you the right tires, how to work on everything else on your vehicle, but also help make a difference, especially during this month as we try to fight that nasty disease called cancer. So again, if you get a qualifying brake job at Lee's Tire Company at any of their 3 locations, 2 of them in Columbia, 1 in Centralia, you can either get $40 back or donate $40 to breast cancer research, all during the Brakes for Breast campaign at Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com.
When the Tigers score, you score at your Columbia Hy-Vee. For every point Mizzou scores on Saturday, when you shop at Hy-Vee on Tuesdays, you can earn that many cents towards your Perks Fuel Saver when you make a purchase of that value or more. They score 40, you earn 40 cents for every $40 you spend. Get free gas just for shopping at Hy-Vee. If you don't have perks yet, just ask to sign up at customer service. When the Tigers score, you score on Touchdown Tuesdays. Only at Hy-Vee.
This weekend, cancel your plans. Brunch is calling at the Dive Bar in Columbia. Start with biscuits, not just any biscuits, local made, buttermilk, sweet corn, even gluten-free, smothered in scratch-made gravy, pork sausage, or the chorizo. Don't forget the loaded biscuit, fluffy omelet, drenched in gravy, stacked so high it's basically brunch art. And then there's the Dive Cristo, smoked ham, house-made raspberry jam, gooey cheese wrapped in a flaky puff pastry. The Monte Cristo wishes it was this good. Brunch Saturday and Sunday only at the Dive Bar in Columbia. Don't just eat, experience.
Think about it. You take thousands of steps every day. Shouldn't every single one of them feel amazing? Well, with Arch Fit hands-free Skechers slip-ins, they can. Skechers teamed up with podiatrists to design a shoe that provides amazing arch support for all-day comfort. And best of all, you get all this comfort, stability, and support with the ease of Skechers slip-ins technology. Just slip them on. There's no bending down and no struggling to tie your shoes. Just step in and go. Try Arch Fit hands-free Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever comfortable footwear is sold.
With Progressive's Home Quote Explorer, you can easily find the right home insurance for you, even if it's not with Progressive. But if you don't choose us, then sure, okay, it's not going to work out. We're not going to cry about it or stay awake wondering what our future together would have looked like. We can't get emotionally invested, even if it sounds like we are. Progressive's Home Quote Explorer allows you to easily compare home insurance rates and coverages in one place, even if it's not with us. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy. I love you. I shouldn't have said that.
Buckeye is fired up for Tiger football as Mizzou takes on Alabama October 11th. Gear up with unbeatable deals on everything you need for tailgating, fall essentials, and all things farm, ranch, auto, home, and pet. Join the Buckeye Buyers Club for even more savings. And keep the winning spirit going all season long. Buckeye, your farm, ranch, auto, home, pet, and outdoor living destination. Join us 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Friday, October 10th at Buckeye 3910 South Providence Road, Columbia. Go Tigers!
Your daily fix of local sports lives here. This is The Big Show on KTGR.
So how would you rank the SEC teams? How would you put them in tiers? 875 KTGR, our SEC football tiers updated now after 6 weeks of play. We've got Mizzou in different places now. Brendan's got them in the second tier. I still have in tier 3.
I'll admit I'm doing a little bit of what I accused the AP poll of doing at the beginning of the season, kind of looking at the schedule and going, oh, you know who's playing this weekend? Clemson and LSU. Better make sure they're in the top 10. Oh, Texas is playing at Ohio State. Better get them up in the top 5. I'm kind of giving Mizzou, giving Oklahoma that tier 2 treatment, even though I think it's more because I found out for sure that Vanderbilt isn't just yet a tier 2 team. And so I don't really want to drop Vanderbilt for losing at Bama, but I think it separates a little bit. Now Mizzou and Oklahoma both have their opportunity that is akin to, all right, Vanderbilt, you fell to Bama. Mizzou now kind of gets that chance. So I'll elevate Mizzou right before it and drop them if they end up not showing as well in it. If they lose real close, it'll be dependent on what the other teams do, how I'll handle Mizzou next week.
Yeah, and that could be interesting how these games that teams in tier 4, I think, have very interesting ones, with maybe the exception of Florida. Well, no, like they have Texas A&M this week, don't they?
No, it's
they can all.
It's a trap game weekend.
Yeah,
I mean, it really is when you think about. And I guess that's only if you're looking at the rankings a little bit. Like, oh, okay, Alabama's going to a place that's they're ranked, but we're the higher ranked team. We're the top 10 team. Oklahoma is very highly ranked, but Texas it's basically a coin flip as to who's going to win that game according to the spreads. Teams like Florida going to A&M, right? That's in College Station. They're like a 7.5 point underdog, but that's where the trap game kind of ideology really comes in, because you're at home, you're favored by a touchdown, you're just supposed to win. I would not be surprised if some of these results end up going the other way for another chaotic weekend.
So there's that. And then there's also this today from Steve Berkowitz of USA Today, who released what we know, at least, about college football head coaching salaries and how exorbitant they are nowadays. Top guy Kirby Smart is making 13.2 just about per season. And then look who is tied for 10th. There's a 4-way tie for 10th. It is all SEC coaches here. Eli Drinkwitz is there, along with Lane Kiffin, Josh Heupel, and Mark Stoops, who are all making $9 million per year. And that is good for tied for 10th in the country. And it just, I think, goes to show that Eli Drinkwitz might get calls for other head coaching jobs that might open up. Maybe Florida opens. Maybe Auburn opens. Maybe another one out there that we're not talking about yet.
We know Arkansas is open.
Arkansas is open.
They tried to hire him the last time.
That didn't work. So
did not work.
He is to the point where the wins that have piled up for him recently have.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at Drink. I'm laughing because I noticed Bill Belichick's name on this
No,
list.
no, yeah, 10. He's there.
He's there at 10.1.
Yeah, he's in the top 10.
Not shopping on the value menu, are we, UNC?
No.
That is not bang for your buck.
And apparently trying to get out of it, too.
Yeah.
According to the reports out there.
It's going to be messy. I told you it would. He wouldn't make it to the end. I should have said he wouldn't make it to the end of this year. I wasn't confident enough.
Man, it is going to be messy over in Chapel Hill. But look, Eli Drinkwitz being essentially in the top 10 of these highest paid coaches in college football, not just the SEC. He used to be 12th, 13th in the SEC. But now, with this rise that he has created, essentially, to not only raise his own salary, but raise the profile of the job, I think, at least for now. Like, that is going to be the key thing to where, like, I don't know what he'll decide if he gets those opportunities elsewhere or he is offered those, but the answer is a lot muddier to determine than it was even 5 years ago. That's what's been impressive.
Yeah, 5 years ago, there would have been, I would have probably still tried to convince myself, like, oh, Mizzou's not going to lose their coach. Is this place for sure a better job? And I would have probably been delusional to be taking up that position. Now I really earnestly, maybe I still am delusional. I guess we'll find out. I legitimately don't believe that I am, though, when you think about, like, Arkansas, please. I don't care how much money they have. Mizzou's got the money. Mizzou, Drink's most recent contract update gave more money to the assistant pool. They could have bumped his salary. I'm sure if he had said, hey, I want to, then they could have done it. There's no issue here. He'll have what he needs. He'll continue to have what he needs, what he wants and what he needs. And that's right. That's how it should be handled. It is really interesting, Andy, that they've been able to get this right to this point through multiple administrations of the athletic department.
Yeah.
Right. It's now spanning multiple athletic directors, several athletic directors, like the one that was here that when he
Jim
was hired,
Sturck was the one that was
Sturck,
hired him. Yeah.
Kicking and screaming was led to hire the right coach. Through no credit of his own. No, I'm saying that. Nobody else is saying that. That's just me. Don't attribute that to anybody else. Because we have fun about the Sturck stuff. But then, like, another AD comes in. Remind me of the timeline. Was it straight to Desiree or was there one in between?
No, it was straight to Desiree pretty much.
Straight to Desiree.
No
Mac Rhodes
interims.
was before.
Yes, and then there were like 3 or 4 different interims between Rhodes and Sturck.
But then it's Desiree, and then, like, they got it right under her where he was, like, the most prominent person in the department. And now we've got another athletic director, and still I have confidence that the people in place to make sure he is satisfied with the resources that he needs. We're building the facilities. You've got the coaching pool. You've got, you know what I mean? Like, I do think it's like money is going to be the difference maker in a lot of this, but I also think like culture is also beginning to match that, where it's like it's looking like the program that has also got the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
when you're building that stadium upgrade, when you've got the facilities, when you've got the sellout streak, that's the vibe at Mizzou now. And so you can tell me that Florida's got all this history. I get it. I remember the Tim Tebow days were really cool. It's been a minute though since those days. And if you're telling me that Florida's going to get my coach because they've got more money, I've got another thing to tell Florida. They're mistaken. That's not going to be what drives it, because Missouri financially is going to do what it takes. That's my belief. Now, the Florida job I don't think would get it done. Are there jobs out there? Surely, everybody's got a dream job.
I'll read from this list who I think is a better job. It's not even necessarily like just the order of the salaries, because I don't think that tells the entire story.
But that's a good place to start if we're going to do this game.
Right, yeah. So I think Georgia is on the list. Ohio State is on the list. Texas is on the list. Alabama, LSU, I think surely are on that list. What is that, 6 teams? Oregon is on the list. And again, these are just schools that are – I'm saying that right now they're better jobs than Mizzou. They're not jobs that are going to be open.
Correct.
Maybe Alabama, but I don't know. Like it's just this is what I'm off the top of my head thinking. If there were an opening, would it be a better opening than Mizzou? And I got to 7-ish teams there. I think.
Who'd you leave out though? Because I think that matters as well in debating this conversation. Like you left out Clemson, which that could come open.
Well,
you know what I mean?
But that's where I was getting to. Like, I think Clemson is also on this list. I was going to get to them. I think they are still a better job.
I think it depends on what the powers that be at Clemson decide to do after Dabo. Like, if that flames out and they're like, we have to like jumpstart it, we have to modernize. Drink is the perfect person to try and poach.
Yeah.
If that's what you're trying to do.
Right.
And he's also obviously got ties to that part of the country as well. So like specific to better job out in the ether, yeah, Clemson's probably still viewed that way, even if Dabo's kind of tanking things a little bit right now. But that doesn't mean Mizzou can't make a pitch, and say, here, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
here's the thing. I think I can get to 10 teams. Like I got to 8 just then. I didn't even say Notre Dame. Like Notre Dame's on the list.
Sure, but that's not a job coming open either.
Right, right. That's what I'm saying. Like it's
good
just
job there.
I think Michigan's on the list. I think A&M,
interesting.
I think A&M's on the list.
A&M is not.
There's a lot of money there.
There's a lot of money, but again, Mizzou has money.
No,
A&M hasn't.
I understand.
Did you see the list somebody put out that it was like last time AP number 1? Of course, for Mizzou it was 2007. For A&M it was like, I don't know, the 70s or something. A&M is not this beyond the money. They're just kind of out there hanging out
it's
there.
Really just the money that has made
there's no
it seem that
prestige
way.
attached, in my opinion.
No, I agree
from
with
a
that.
national scale to A&M. I'm sorry,
and I'm good with that. It's just the money has been so.
No, it's real. It's real and it's deep and it's plentiful. I get that. Yeah, for sure.
I think Florida State is a better job. So but I would struggle to get to 15 teams that are better than Mizzou's job.
Better job, just like
For
on a
sure.
neutral field. You're
Yeah.
not talking specific to Drink because we can't speak for the guy.
Like in a tier above what the Mizzou job is right now.
Yeah, and like I don't know that it remains that way. If Drinkwitz stays, I don't believe that that's a glass ceiling that is just unbreakable for Mizzou as a program to break into that tier of the Florida States and the Clemsons and the LSUs. I earnestly believe that. Call me crazy, but I think that's what Drink's building. And so if you're the architect of that, do you want to jump ship to something that is, you got to start over like a Florida, but there's obviously the support there and the history there? Or do you get to the mountaintop first and then you can, think about what's next for the legacy? But like only Drinkwitz would know that answer, but I'm just looking at it from like the outside going, it's very clear, I think, what's happening at Mizzou. And that's why a weekend game like this one feels so important, because it's like you announce it a little bit more than 26-5, which is obviously a great record, but you announce it with like, all these names that would just have, Mizzou's an afterthought compared to these dozen or 18 programs. and then you start beating them on a regular basis and it's not. That's why this matters. You can make the playoff without beating Alabama and Oklahoma this year, but did it really announce your presence in the way that I think is what's next for the program? That's why I want this one so bad against Bama.
Yeah, like you need to break through somehow, and you can do it with this win. Doesn't mean the job's finished, but it gets you in a very favorable position. So with Eli Drinkwitz being a top 10 paid coach, essentially.
Yeah, they pay him and they will continue to pay him no matter who tries to come take him away.
Call or text us with your thoughts on that at 875-KTGR. All right, some interesting NCAA changes, a transfer portal that is now just one window in college football, and very interesting today. How do we feel about the NCAA loosening the restrictions on athletes betting on professional sports? We'll get to that.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Billy Jones. This live local sports center is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee sells it. Lee'sTireCompany.com. Missouri getting set for their top 15 showdown with Alabama Saturday at Faurot Field. Everyone's anticipating and waiting on the first edition of the SEC injury report that will be available tonight a little bit after 7. Question marks around all SEC tackle Kalen Green, who missed the last 2 games for Missouri. He's expected to be listed as questionable tonight with a foot injury. And kickoff of that game Saturday at 11 a.m. You can hear that one right here on KTGR. Starting with the Yuengling Tiger Game Day Show, which begins at 8. Chiefs released their first injury report ahead of their Sunday Night Football showdown with Detroit. All players listed as full participants at practice as the Chiefs try and get back to 500 after suffering a loss on Monday against Jacksonville. And just about 24 hours from puck drop in St. Louis as the Blues get set to open their 25-26 campaign. They'll take on division rivals Minnesota in that one. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast with I-70 Towing. They're Mid-Missouri's go-to crew when your world seems to have been wrecked. Call the team you hope you never have to meet. I-70 Towing.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking a chilly night as we drop down into the low 40s under clear skies. Expect more sunshine again tomorrow with high temperatures in the lower 70s. Tomorrow night, a few more clouds. Temperatures drop down into the upper 40s to about 50. We'll have a chance for a few showers, especially west of Highway 63 on Friday. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Chiefs Kingdom lives here.
This is the Chiefs Kingdom.
Touchdown! Kansas City! Tune in every Monday night at 6 for the Chiefs Kingdom Show, hosted by the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holtis. Hear from head coach Andy Reid and your favorite Chiefs players all season long. After every game, enter the doors to the Chiefs Kingdom. Monday nights at 6. Powered by Macadoodles, Steve's Pest Control, and your total sports station for all things Chiefs. KTGR.
Hey, it's Andy and Brendan here with Underdog Fantasy Football, postseason baseball. Very soon we'll get into hockey and NBA basketball. There is so much to check out on Underdog Fantasy. No matter what sport you're into, you can make your predictions on how players will do, and it can earn you some cash. Brendan, what are you looking at?
Well, I'm already starting to take a peek ahead to Thursday night with the matchup between the Giants and the Eagles. And I'm leaning toward that rookie quarterback, Jackson Dart, making an impact on the ground. I know they're facing the Eagle defense, but Jackson Dart has been a really good, efficient runner so far as a starter for the Giants. And his stat on Underdog, higher than 36.5 rushing yards for the game on Thursday. I think that's going to be the way I begin my next entry on Underdog Fantasy.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. So take that pick, take a few others from players on different teams, put your entry together. If you get those picks right, you could win up to 5,000 times your money. Best part is you can play right here in Missouri. No traveling necessary. Download the Underdog app today. Sign up with promo code KTGR to score $100 in bonus funds or bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code KTGR. Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Step into comfort with this new property from Atterbury Auction and Realty Company in South Columbia. This property features a 4,000 square foot home on 11.5 acres with plenty of room to spread out. With 5 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, a walkout basement, sun porch, storm shelter, John Deere room, and more. Plus a private pond with wide open spaces, bringing you a peaceful getaway just minutes from town. For open house dates, bidding info, and more, visit
Atterbury Sales. AtterburySales.com.
Right there. That hole opens up, and he did not hesitate to hit it.
Seriously. You don't have to live like this. Just trying to watch football and laugh at obviously hilarious things the broadcasters say. Your favorite team plays outside. You should be watching them outside on a Crutch's deck.
Yeah, he got penetration there, but he just couldn't finish it.
Get a custom outdoor football watching oasis with Crutch's Custom Exteriors. True beauty is on the outside. CrutchesCustomExteriors.com.
From Branson Landing to the Capitol Dome, Union Station to the Tigers' home. Big old services, Missouri's best. Our trusted team outpaces the rest. Show me safe coverage wherever you go. We've got you covered at Big O.
Parents know bats aren't cheap. That's why Play It Again Sports is giving you the chance to save big. Now through Sunday, come in to Play It Again and get registered to win $500 towards a new baseball or softball bat. You don't even have to use it now. Your discount is good through March 31st, 2026. So you can wait for next year's bats and still save. Stop by the store, scan the QR code, and you're in. Play It Again Sports. Think of them first so you don't finish last. Play It Again Sports, ColumbiaMo.com.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
Hey, this is Jimmy with Pro Designs, and maybe you've heard, we're the vehicle wrap specialist, but branding your business doesn't stop there. At Pro Designs, we can wrap your walls, windows, even floors.
Go to ProDezigns.com.
Come see them at their locations in Eldon or Columbia off Rangeline Street and I-70.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
The best local sports talk around on your ride home. You've got The Big Show on KTGR.
So tell us what you think about the Mizzou job now. 875-KTGR here on The Big Show. We'll get some of your calls and texts here on that in just a second. Do want to bring this up. NCAA yesterday, the transfer portal window appears to be official now. We thought it was going to be 10 days. Looks like it's going to be 15 instead. January 2nd to the 16th is the new college football transfer portal window. No longer in December, and it is just one window. No more spring transfers anymore. Just this January one. I think it works out. Coaches obviously wanted it. I think we'll still be a feeding frenzy when it comes to like the transfer portal news, like what's happening during that time. I think that it's shifted a month later doesn't necessarily take away its impact, if you will. So I think that's fine. This interesting. College athletes before were banned from gambling on any sports. Now the NCAA, and it's not official yet, but they are close to loosening the restrictions on athletes betting on pro sports. So you can bet NFL, you can bet NBA, Major League Baseball as a college athlete, but still can't bet college sports. That's obviously a big no-no.
Let's keep it obvious, though. If you're starting to blur the lines a little bit, like, was this a problem? You know,
I don't know.
Do they think, okay, some additional kids will be eligible because this behavior has been happening. We've been kind of finding it and keeping it quiet or whatever. And like, they know, okay, don't bet on college, but can I just bet because the ads are everywhere, right? For gambling.
Right.
But it's interesting.
Any old student can do a bet on NFL. So, like, I think it's fair to let the college athletes who are not in the NFL. I mean, some of them probably will be, but still a very small percentage of all of them.
And they're not currently, so there's no, they don't know what team they'll be on. Like, there's no nothing nefarious there.
And so I think it's fair You clearly do have to be extra careful, though. Like, that still needs to be very much a thing that you stay on your P's and Q's about.
Because this was described for the baseball pitchers that were, some different things where you were investigating pitchers because of the first ball of an inning or whatever. And then, like, there was some reporting that came out that, like, there's players who we might see this as obvious from the outside, but, like, if you have a 10-leg parlay and 9 of them are basketball, football, soccer, but there's a baseball bet in there, that's still, as a baseball player, betting on baseball. And so you can't just slide in a college football bet into your parlay if you got all NFL. And, like, I think people are smart enough to know that, but sometimes my expectations for people and their intelligence, I'm left disappointed. And so should we reasonably think it's obvious to the college kids of, like, hey, don't forget that this doesn't mean you can put a college football bet in your parlay, or you're a college football player, you can't put a college basketball bet in your parlay.
Right.
Are you making it tougher for them to follow the rules because you're like, yeah, some of this is okay, and does stuff slip through the cracks because of that? I agree. It's fair to let them do it because there's no harm in it. But if it also causes them to slip up and go, oh, I forgot, I didn't realize that wasn't allowed, then it's scary because you're talking about even more oversight needed to make sure they, like, if I'm a coach, I hate this because instead of me being able to tell my players, just no blanket can't do it, technically that's not even true anymore. And so it's harder to make sure you're on top of guys. I would think if I'm a coach,
I think you can still say, okay, look, college games, no. But I mean, you really can't bet on anything other than college and pro. So, like, college, just half of this, take that half out, and then do whatever you want with the rest. But yeah, I can understand that part of it too. Of there being miscommunication.
That's what I'm worried about. Not that they shouldn't be able to bet on the NFL. Who cares?
Honest mistakes where you don't understand what it could be. Yeah. So I don't know. Very interesting. We'll see what comes of that and when that eventually becomes official. All right. Thanks for joining us today. We've got some playoff baseball coming your way next. Blue Jays and Yankees. We're back at 4 o'clock tomorrow. He's Brendan. He's producer Billy. I'm Andy. We're done for now.
Sons of insects, I am part of the paintball.